All right. So I think you got a little bit more positive than before. I promise you we will move some more during my session. Now, my presentation, my story is about how to distribute your 100% of energy so that you probably all know people that you look at them and you ask them, how is it possible that you have 24 hours a day, like I do, but you look fit, you look all managed with your relationships and your family, you have nice kids, you even do your own hobby, travel around the world, you have written a book, you do plenty of good things in terms of business. How can you do that? How can you possibly be like that? And you seem to be fulfilled and happy. I also have 24 hours a day, but somehow it doesn't go that way. Why is that so? Now, and my story is going to be about how to at least move towards this goal, which actually will never be a goal as such. It will be always a process. Like now, you are sitting right now, and you think you are calm, nothing happening right now. You only listen. But inside of you, there are billions of different things, small things going on all the time. At any given moment, it's changing all the time. You only think nothing changed. So that's why it's always a process. And yesterday, what was good yesterday is not good anymore. You remember at the age of 20, 25, you can go and party all night, drink a lot of booze, and then go to work again and do that 3 days in a row. Everything was fine. But then came a moment, you think, all right, if I just get 4 hours of sleep, it's terrible. Not to mention going to party. Who thinks that way? So, now there's one problem with actually biohacking, with improving yourself. And this problem is that we all tell ourselves stories that limit us. We think it's okay to do this and that way, this particular way. Now, here's a small story. There's a Jane and Peter, a family. Jane loves to cook. She cooks roast chicken. She marinates the chicken, puts into the oven, but cuts off the thighs, the legs from the chicken, and puts in the oven. Peter asks, why do you do that? Oh, it's something has to do with marination, something with cooking. My mother taught me that. Peter thinks doesn't make any sense. But let's go to your mother and ask what's the reason behind cutting off the legs. So they go to mothers and they ask the mother, why do you cut off the thighs? And the mother says, it has to do something with the taste. My mother taught me that. At some point, they go to a fest, like family gathering, and Jane decides to ask a grandmother, tell me, why do you cut off the legs from the chicken? And grandmother says, it's easy. My oven is too small, it doesn't fit. So this is how we tell our stories, always the same thing. And the lifespan in Latvia is 70. The health span is 52. And the reason why people live 18 years in that condition, everything is like aching, poor sleep, everything is bad. And after the age of 30, 35, everything is bad. Nothing gets better. So, and people keep telling themselves that aging is natural. Something wrong with your body is natural. And we accept that. My mother doesn't come to me to visit, or she does that very, very seldom. And the reason why, I live on the 4th floor, no elevator. She cannot climb. That's it. So we live in this self-limiting beliefs because somebody else taught me us that. So I actually urge you to become a transitional characters, which means quit being the same thing, the same being, the same humans. Let's start, like, you could be the first one to go to college. You could be the first one to quit smoking. You could be the first one to become an artist, like we heard it before. By the way, applause to every other speaker before us. Please, go. Yeah. And there's also one problem. Who of you woke up today by snoozing a button, like alarm clock, many times? At least one time? Okay. Do you press the snooze button when you go to a vacation? Because it's something very nice, very, very interesting, very motivating. But we do that when we wake up on the Tuesday morning. Why? Because bad things is ahead of us. You know, stress at work, kids, everything, finances, everything is kind of wrong. And then we think, you know, maybe at 6 p.m. after work, at least the day is finished. Now I can go home and drink some wine. And I wait for the weekend the same way. I always wait for the vacation that will come and make my feeling bad again, good again. That means if you only wait for your vacations, means you're not living your life, because you need to have this same feeling 24/7, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single day. Everything is okay. We are looking for so that everything is fine with us. To wake up in the morning and feel, now is a good day. Now I'm going to crush it. But any of you are statisticians, mathematicians, investors, like with dealing with numbers, figures? You know that if the probability of success rate is 51%, then you can ruin all casinos in the world. It actually is enough 50.001, so you ruin every single casino in the world. The same thing is actually the opposite. If we have luck in our side, only 49%, it's enough just to go bankrupt every single time. So basically, in order to feel okay, it's not about 100%, 70%, 80%. It's actually only about how to create this thing that we are 51% okay. It's a struggle between it's actually the struggle between 51 and 49. If you drink wine in the evening, it's because you get 51%. Easy. You take drugs, you get 51%. It's for a few hours, right? The problem with that is that it's not sustainable. At some point, you will fall back and feel shitty again. So the idea is now to look for the tools, for the biohacking tools, from clinics, from kindergartens, from everywhere, that reliably will give us this 2% edge. It's just only 2% edge. It's not like, oh, that guy looks like he's got everything handled. When in fact it can only be 51% and you are 49. But the difference between 49 and 51 is like day and night. So basically, all we have to do is to look for the tools, the biohacking tools, to make these 51% as often as possible. Now, in terms of biohacking, there is actually one single thing that is the most important. And that is actually one single question that you should ask yourself. And usually you can do that by using any gadgets like rings for measuring sleep. You can use tools that Slava has in his clinic. All things are available. But that one single question that can actually be asked to yourself without even any device is, and how often do you ask this question to yourself? And now just take a breath and ask quietly this single one question. How do I feel? We live superficially. We run as Dennis, the traveler guy, the photographer, said, what is a white man? White people are people running in circles. So if you run in circles, you barely have time to ask this question, how do I feel? Especially to men. If you ask to a man, how do you feel? The answer is нормально. Just one word. Why? Because you don't have vocabulary for that. Because you don't ask this question too often. You need to create a vocabulary. And basically, when you use the devices, measuring devices, all technology, all other tools in terms of biohacking, they are actually just the aid, the help to help you answer this question, how do I feel? Like, for instance, if I measure my sleep and I in the morning ask to myself, how do I feel? This is how I synchronize what I see objectively in the figures and what's really going on in myself. And you have to ask this question like every second, because every second we are changing. How can it be that we got a phone call and it just ruins our mood? Why? So that's the time when you ask this question, how do I feel? And actually, the one bonus question to this one is, what do I think? You have to ask you this question, what do I think? Because if you're angry, anger stays in your body only for 12 seconds if you don't work on it. If you work on it, it might be that you are angry for years. You don't even know anymore why. But you are angry at some people because something happened. You just keep this anger going on. But step back and just ask, feeling is not completely me. So this is the question in biohacking, how do I feel? And the next one. First is, how do I feel? That's taking the objective data or subjective, whatever. And next one, if you start living your life or start this process going, first, remove distractions. Like these. You know, we use phones for 4 or 5 hours a day. And if you don't have time for your kids for anything, come on. So distractions, first acknowledge what's standing in your way. Because if you are swimming against the stream, it's going to be hard. You're going to use all your power, and these notifications will always stand behind you in this low level stress. And you will be always in the phone, even if you're not in the phone. And it doesn't go, it's not even the phone. One of the single most important distractor, not important, but the most distracting thing in the workspace, you know, are other coworkers. So if there's something that is standing in your way, just remove them. Now, I finally want to introduce you to the model of how to distribute your energy in 5 categories. There are 5 categories that are inside of us. Like 100% of the time, we use our energy first and foremost for our autonomous processes. This is what happens inside of our bodies. This is heart, this is lungs, this is kidneys, brain, everything. And if you are sick, if you are inflamed, if you are stressed, we know that you expend more energy. Anybody of you have attended diving courses? You? You, okay. You know that every single person is handed out these tanks of oxygen. Some of the people step out of the water half the time than you. Why? Because they are more stressed, so they expend more oxygen. So there are people that breathe 30 times a minute. It's like, they need more oxygen because they're inflamed, they are sick. And there are people that can breathe for 6, 7 times a minute. And you can train that. And now, I would like to give you a small test. Now, take a 3 deep breathe in, breathe out, and after the third breathe out, hold your breath and take time. How long can you hold it? Now, you do that, but I keep on talking. The idea is that there is a range you should be able to hold your breath. And if you're not able to do that, it is a really good indicator that something's wrong with you. And you can actually do this thing every single morning. After 2 or 3 weeks, you will determine, what's that? You will determine what's your average time. So for instance, then you don't need any gadgets to measure your fitness of your nervous system. So imagine you can hold your breath for 45 seconds. So at some day, it's only 30. Why is that? It's probably because you slept bad or you are stressed out, which means don't take any serious stuff this day. If you want to not get injured or make some stupid decisions that you will regret later, just maybe take a nap or something. But at some days, you will be able to hold your breath for 1 minute, 55 seconds. That's an indicator you could just go full gas because you are ready for that. You need less oxygen. As simple as that. So, who could hold your breath for 1 minute? More than 1 minute? You can take a photo of this one. This is a good metric to know where you stand. And if needed, I can send you also then the presentation. Okay. You can also train your inner organs by fasting. You can do that by immersing yourself into the cold water. You can do a lot of things just to train your inner things. Now, the second category is the physical things. Actually, both go hand in hand. The first, autonomous processes, you cannot influence them directly, only indirectly. But physical processes, you can train yourself like consciously. Like for instance, now, because we don't have a lot of time, I will show you what one exercise that is the most important if you are sitting, if you have a sitting job. And you sat here for 5 hours or so. Now, please stand up. That small exercise is called Russian squat or gopnik. So, you have to sit like this, but the heels should be on the ground. That's the second most neutral position after sleeping on your back. Should stretch all your tissues, your muscles, your skeleton. This is how you should be able to relax, you know? And every single hour, you should be standing up and sitting like this, squatting. And if it's hard for you to do this position, you need it more. Let's move on. The third thing is the automated processes. My friend Boomer already told about that, how you do automation, how you do things like you remove all the necessary decisions not to expend a lot of energy. Like for instance, imagine you have email to write to 5 people. Imagine you are writing this email for every single person from the zero again. That's crazy. Imagine doing this. I'm already tired just by thinking of that. So what you do, you just copy 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or even attach other people to CC line. This is automation. But because we don't do a lot of automation, and I suggest you go back to Boomer and ask some tips for automation, you expend a lot of energy by doing this. Some of you probably thought this morning which shoes to wear. Have you done something like this? Number 4, it's professional processes. Professional processes, and this was also mentioned, this famous Gallup survey, where it turns out that more than 50% are disengaged from the work that they do, and more than 10% are actively disengaged. This is because you're in the wrong place. You're just expanding so much energy by just not knowing why are you doing this at all. So one of the tips is that this is the Japanese concept called ikigai. And basically what it, in my opinion, just in short, that would be you should be able to find what is your unique ability. Do you know not what you don't like or what you are not good at, but do you like what are you good at? Raise your hand if you are completely sure what are you good at. Okay. So the rest, I suggest, is you start looking for where are you good at, and you can do that. Start by just asking your friends, your family members, your colleagues. Just ask them, what is something that I do effortless? That's all. But you never start with passion, because you are passionate about something that is really easy for you to do. Sometimes people start with passion and then they just like, I did that and I did that, and nothing is really working. And number 5 is creative processes. This is self-fulfillment and self-growth. And as it usually is, that imagine you wake up in the morning, you go to work, you maybe do some exercises, maybe you don't, but then you come back. Because you don't prioritize the self-fulfillment, the creativity, you think you should do that as the last in the day. So you come back home, and then you tell yourself, oh, today was a hard day. Yes, my dream is to write a book, but let's do it maybe tomorrow. So it's already 5 years since you tell to yourself, let's do it tomorrow. So you never, you always prioritize the least resistance way, which is maybe watching TV, taking wine. So, well, the thing is about this model is that it's a one-day thing. It's one day. It's not physical process. It's not like something that you are doing just once or twice a week or on weekend. Or self-fulfillment thing you do when you go to Spain. It's every single day. You wake up in the morning, you hold your breath. At least this is one breath work, and breathing is very important, we know. You can live without food for 1 month, you can live without water for 1 week, you can live without oxygen. How many seconds? So this is how important the oxygen and breathing is. So you wake up in the morning, you start your breathing exercises, you do hourly squats. Start looking for something that you are good at in your work. And remember, this is not like today or tomorrow. It's maybe after 1 month or maybe 1 year. But it's important that you feel that every single hour when you moved, you kind of feel this energy started flowing. And you start believing yourself. This is how you get those 2% constantly. Like every single day, you get those 2%. This is the most important thing, that you only work on 2% increase. And as also this is one of the themes in this conference, is that everything has to be according to being social. The harshest penalty in prison is what? Одиночка. So we have to be social in all this. And if it's hard to do all those 5 things, find the partner, the accountability partner. I told you, everything gets worse after the age of 30 and 40. You maybe find yourself somewhere here, and then you tell to yourself, it's probably because I'm old. My time's gone. But if I give you a dice, and I ask you, you throw, what's the probability of you getting 6? 1 to 6, okay? It's 3. You throw it again, what's the probability? So you can throw the dice 10,000 times. And it can be that none of those are 6. But 10,001 may be 6 because the probability is 1 to 6 again. So even though you may be here, it's a new diagram again. It's always the new diagram. Every single day is a new diagram. You always ask yourself, how do I feel? I want to feel better? Let's do something. So I started doing this, at the age of 34, 35. And every single day, and I started talking about this, giving seminars, lectures, only because I know it's always you have to throw the new dice, always, every single day. It's not like I got Olympic medal, now I'm medalist. Maybe. But to get the new medal, you have to work again. Start working again. And this is very inspiring concept. Just to remember, you already maybe do a lot of nice things that help you create those 2% for your health, for your well-being, for fulfilling your life. But now just add one thing. If you could hold your breath only 30 seconds right now, start tomorrow with breath hold. That's it. Focus only on that one thing. Because if you start with this one, the 2 ships go out from the port with 1 degree difference. For a very long time, it will look like they go on parallel lines. But after 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you will be in completely different situation. You have to set the intention for going there, like this 1 degree difference. You have to tell to your brain by doing meditation, by doing sports exercise, by anything, but prepare yourself for getting there. And don't be like this guy. That's writing on the wall in Riga. Don't be that guy. Thank you very much.
Каспарс, скажи, пожалуйста, когда произошла первая конференция в Латвии и как ты до нее дошел? Мне сейчас это очень интересно, потому что у меня очень живой опыт, как мы доходили до этого мероприятия. И расскажи, пожалуйста.
Сейчас могу на русском. Наверное, для каждого история немножко другая. Я сам начал заниматься всем этим, чем занимаюсь, потому что, нужно бросать свои новые камушки. Мой папа умер в 65 лет. Я думаю, это не очень, да. Последние 15 лет он жил вообще мизерабльно. И я знал, что одно дело читать и начинать чем-то заниматься, это тоже для меня не sustainable, да. И я придумал, что для меня самая легкая реализация моих планов это если я буду идти и всем рассказывать об этом. Потому что тогда все увидят, делаю я это или нет. Да? Поэтому конференции — это просто такой логичный шаг, чтобы говорить, рассказывать, чтобы делать народ счастливее. И самое главное, чтобы они все чувствовали себя хорошо.
Спасибо. То есть такой элемент самореализации, эволюционный, естественно. Да, кстати, мне кажется, это одна из таких типичных свойств биохакинга. Это всегда что-то натуральное, что-то естественное, что-то эволюционное. Это очень сложно сыграть, и всегда за этим стоят личные, интересные истории. Давайте поблагодарим Каспарса.
Да, потому что, знаете, себя обмануть самое простое. Делаем мы каждый день, каждую секунду там. А других уже труднее. Поэтому эта социальность, сделать такой нетворк очень-очень важно. И вот всегда рассказывать другим, что происходит, что новенькое. Это уже становится интереснее жить.
100%. И мы тем самым связи улучшаем не только между людьми, а и связи между собой внутри. Потому что одной из тем биохакинга также является гармония environment. Даже там говорится, что внутренняя среда и внешняя среда, что это одно целое. Поэтому, гармонизируя наши с вами связи сейчас, мы потихонечку улучшаем наши взаимосвязь между нашими органами, нашими клеточками. Спасибо, Каспарс, большое.